Over the course of the last 1 to 2 weeks, there have been a few major news items that point to Valve preparing to release new hardware. At first, this hardware was speculated to be a Steam Deck revision or a Steam Deck 2. Then, sadly, it's Bradley did a live stream where he gave his reasoning as to why it's actually the Deckard. You know, the standalone virtual reality headset that Valve's been working on for years. The problem is, there have been plenty of smart people pointing out how unlikely x86 standalone PC VR would be in 2023, and now it seems like we have the final piece to the puzzle because the latest leaks seem to be pointing towards not a standalone headset, but instead a Steam Deck set-top box that will lower the barrier to entry for PC VR. That's right, it looks like Valve is getting ready to release a Steam Deck console, something that you can plug into your TV, but it would also have special functionality for low latency wireless streaming to a virtual reality headset that would also be developed by Valve. Of course, if this is all true, it seems just as likely that Valve would release a Steam Controller 2 to go alongside the new console. More importantly, all signs are pointing to Valve being on the verge of announcing this new hardware and maybe even releasing it very soon, like within this holiday season soon, and the timing could be phenomenal with Steam itself turning 20 years old this week. But first, I wanted to tell you about some sweet deals from today's sponsor, Micro Center. I've read your comments and you all love Micro Center as much as I do, but you all have one complaint. There aren't enough of them. That's why I'm happy to tell you about a new Micro Center opening in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's going to launch in early 2024, so check the link to stay up to date. If you don't know, Micro Center has a selection of over 30,000 items, and they actually have a great deal for new customers, $25 off any purchase of $100 or more. You just sign up and use the coupon they send you. In fact, you can use their custom builder tool, select your parts, and get same day assembly and pickup for a brand new PC. No, seriously, Micro Center has professionals that will build the PC out of the parts you choose, and they will have it ready for you to pick up on the same day. And if that's not enough, they have a bunch of deals for September. You can get anything from accessories to computer parts to 3D printers. Either way, Micro Center has you covered. I'll leave links to everything in the description so that you can see for yourself. Thanks to Micro Center for sponsoring this video. First of all, major shout out to Sadly It's Bradley, who has been data mining Deckard and other hardware for a long time. I assume there are a lot of other data miners to thank as well, but I've been watching Brad's channel as well as his work for some time now, and that's where I personally get a lot of my information from. Second of all, another shout out to Phoronix, who first made mention of Galileo almost 2 weeks ago now. If you didn't catch that, Phoronix found a really curious commit into the Linux 6.6 kernel that really kicked off a new wave of speculation. The new code added support for specific audio devices to AMD's Van Gogh chip. The curious thing, of course, being that the Van Gogh APU is currently exclusive to the Steam Deck. No other device uses this APU. In addition to that, the author, Michael Larabelle, also found new code that indicated a new product from Valve with code names Galileo for the product name and Sephiroth for the product family. For the Steam Deck itself, the respective code names were Jupiter and Aerith as opposed to Galileo and Sephiroth. So once again, this points to new hardware being on the way. But although the word Galileo was new to us, it was something that Brad Lynch, aka Sadly It's Bradley, had data mined months back when he was told it was referenced in a Steam Deck firmware. Based on that, Brad did an incredible live stream where he told us of everything he learned. There's a lot of info there, and I'm not really going to even recap it because it stands alone as an incredibly informative video, so I'll just leave a link to that in the description. But basically, he was giving us everything he learned, and he made his case for why he thinks the hardware in question is a standalone headset. And then just a few days later, we learned that Valve received a radio certification for new hardware from South Korea's KC certification program. This is a step that must be taken for all new hardware that uses various wireless frequencies, including Wi-Fi. This certification was issued to the Valve Index just 1 month prior to its release and to the Steam Deck just 3 months shy of its own launch. This here is evidence that whatever Valve is working on is not only very far along in production, it's actually incredibly close to not just being announced, but being released. Typically, these certifications happen just weeks or months shy of a hardware release. Of course, Brad didn't stop data mining there. Over the weekend and into Monday, Brad posted a series of tweets that showed why he was rethinking everything about Galileo. Basically, he went from thinking that Galileo was a standalone headset to finding high amounts of evidence that Valve is, quote, preparing to release a Steam machine with a souped up APU and is targeting wireless PC VR performance with it. This would lower the barrier to entry for PC VR, just like the Steam Deck for PC gaming, end quote. This evidence includes the ability to create a hotspot, which would be used for wireless VR, and it also includes references to proximity sensors that would know when you're walking towards the machine, which you wouldn't need if it was just a standalone headset. I've heard many people refer to the Steam Deck as a Trojan horse, specifically as a way to get people to gaming on Linux. Well, it seems like Valve is once again adopting the Trojan horse strategy, this time to lower the barrier to entry for PC VR. You can't get into PC VR if you don't have a PC. This is what makes the Quest so attractive to so many people. All they need is one headset. And so while it's possible that you can't yet accomplish a streamlined standalone headset for PC gaming in 2023, it looks like Valve is going for the next best thing. Release an affordable mainstream PC that you can connect to your TV to play games, with the added bonus that it'll be compatible with wireless VR using their headset. Valve has been invested in virtual reality for a long time, and I think they see now as a good opportunity to introduce a new product that would stand alongside the juggernauts of the upcoming Meta Quest 3 and eventually the Apple Vision Pro. Speaking of the Meta Quest 3, Valve doesn't even need to sell their own headset. Many people already have a Quest 2, and now people will be buying the Quest 3 as well. Both units are capable of wirelessly streaming from a PC, and in that way, a Steam Deck console can become a companion to the Quest 3. You can more than double your VR library by buying a Steam Deck console and getting PC VR games from Steam. But the best part for me is that while VR may be a huge selling point for Valve, I won't have to be personally invested in that medium to enjoy the new console. Even though docking my Steam Deck works just fine, I have been wanting a Steam Deck console since I've had the deck in my hands. I'd love a little more horsepower, but mostly I think it would just be nice to have something that sits at my TV all the time. Importantly, I think that just like the Steam Deck, a set-top box would be a great way to bring over console-only gamers. The Steam Deck has proven that it's much easier to use for gaming than a traditional Windows PC, and in that way, it has been able to attract people that previously only played console games. I ran a poll a while back, and 13% of the people that responded said that the Steam Deck would be their first real gaming PC, and that is just incredible. I'm not sure what the price for something like this would be, especially considering Valve can take a loss, but I'd like to see a big box bundle that includes the console, the headset, and a Steam controller too. I don't know about you, but that seems like it would be an exciting gift to give or receive for Christmas. And if it could come in at under $600, it feels like something that could really disrupt the existing space. I know I'm huffing all the copium right now, but imagine if a PS5 costs $400 to $500 and PSVR 2 is an additional $550, a Steam Deck console that runs on an APU would not be able to compete in terms of visuals, but there could be a lot of shock and awe if Valve are able to bring something that provides a huge value, something that's affordable and can sort of do it all. It's really unclear if they would do a bundle. In fact, it's possible that the headset is not ready yet and only the set-top box is ready. One interesting fact is that only one piece of hardware was certified in the hardware certification database. Presumably that means that only one SKU is coming to market, but we really don't know whether that SKU would be a bundle or the first in a new line of Valve hardware. But we do know that at least a set-top box makes the most sense so far. I'm in a group chat with the rest of the Nerd Nest podcast, and before this particular theory, we couldn't agree on any of the options making sense. The Fox pointed out how current generation APUs wouldn't work well for a standalone VR headset and would result in terrible battery life. I personally couldn't see why this wouldn't be related to VR, given all the work that has gone into Steam VR as of late. A console that treats virtual reality as a first-class citizen is something that bridges both of our concerns and brings us something that we weren't necessarily expecting. I still have plenty of questions, and I can't wait to see how Valve packages and markets such a device. Personally, I haven't gotten deep into virtual reality. I think it's awesome, but honestly just doesn't fit my lifestyle. I'm curious to see if Valve's offering can fit my needs, but I think a set-top box would be awesome regardless, and I also expect that it's going to need a controller to go with it. Hopefully this means Steam Controller 2 is on the way. I know a lot of people would be very happy to hear that. Definitely let me know your thoughts in the comments. Up next, I wanted to point out that Steam turned 20 years old this week on September 12th. I've been using Steam since Christmas Eve of 2003, so I've been a Steam user since pretty much the beginning, and that's mostly thanks to Counter-Strike. I was huge into CS back in the day, so I was forced to be an early adopter if I wanted to keep playing up-to-date versions of CS. So I registered my dubiously acquired copy of the Half-Life Platinum Pack, as you can see here. By the way, if you go to your account details and click View Licenses and Product Key Activations, you can see everything that you've bought or registered on your account. So let me know in the comments what was your first purchase and when. Anyway, like everyone else at the time, I felt like it was a hassle. I didn't see why Steam was a thing. Eventually, Steam began to win me over with their infamous Steam sales. And if you weren't there from around 2008 to like 2015, you might not really understand. We were able to buy entire publisher collections for like 80 bucks. And there would be flash sales and daily sales so that you were compelled to refresh the Steam front page a few times a day to take advantage of any new discounts that would pop up throughout the sales period. It was a lot of fun, but in retrospect, it was kind of predatory, and I'm glad they went away from that practice. Interestingly though, there was one more big turning point for me and Steam, and that was the wave of indies that came after games like Super Meat Boy and Braid. There were so many good indie games that were either exclusive to PC or were otherwise so cheap to buy on PC that it didn't make sense to buy on console. Stuff like Darwinia, Torchlight, Killing Floor, VVV, Painkiller, the original Witcher, Shatter, Beat Hazard, and Jamestown. These were phenomenal original games that were affordable and not really available elsewhere. That is when I started to sing the praises of Steam in the forums, and PC started to become my preferred platform. Before Steam Deck, Steam itself was the bridge that console gamers crossed to come over to PC gaming. It's no exaggeration to say that PC gaming wouldn't be what it is today without Steam. So here's a toast to Steam turning 20 years old this week, and if you want to learn more about the history of Steam, I would like to recommend a video from my friend High Tech Low Life. Check it out. Next up, let's talk about improvements to Starfield performance on Steam Deck. These come to us courtesy of a new mod called Steam Deck Essentials. To be honest, I haven't really started playing Starfield, so I'd like to shout out Game Tech Planet and Steam Deck HQ for covering this in depth. I'm going to provide links to both of those in the description. Yeah, this mod is called Steam Deck Essentials, and it can be found on Nexus Mods. According to the copy, it aims to improve performance, stability, and consistency for the Steam Deck and other low-powered handhelds PCs, offering up to 38% better performance compared to vanilla low settings depending on the scene, end quote. It does all this by, first of all, compressing textures and files using a technique that's better for slower SD cards. It also reduces texture size so that they don't exceed the Steam Deck's VRAM size. That in particular offers a great improvement on 1% lows for frame rates. Additionally, it increases the fluidity of interactions and animations up to 40 FPS. And finally, it lowers some settings that you can't access in the menu, and it does that using INI files. Overall, the average FPS gets drastic increases, the average stability is improved, and the stutters are drastically reduced. All of this at the cost, of course, of some image quality. I've also seen some concerns about stability. Some people like Liam from Gaming on Linux are experiencing crashes due to this mod. It's unclear how widespread this is. I've seen a lot of praise for the mod in various forums. It's at least worth a try if you're playing Starfield on a handheld or on a low-powered PC. Again, I highly recommend checking either the Game Tech Planet video or the SDHQ article for more information. Speaking of mods, a new version of TabMaster just released, and I highly recommend you check it out. TabMaster is a mod for the Steam Deck that can be installed using Deckard Loader. It allows you to have full control over your library tabs so that you can hide, filter, and reorder them as you please. You can make custom tabs with editable filters. You can use regular expressions to filter your titles, and a lot more. Now with V2, there are a few new features that have been added. You can now filter based on whether something is a demo. That's going to be really handy if you're like me and you love Steam Next Fest. You're probably downloading a bunch of demos and trying them all, and this might be a good way to manage your queue. You can also add new filters for Metacritic score, Steam score, time played, and size on disk. All of these features are going to go a long way to being able to create nice custom collections that you can set up as tabs on your Steam Deck. I highly recommend checking it out. Even though a Steam Deck revision is probably not coming soon, here's a story that would be interesting for a new Steam Deck or really for any PC handheld. Thunderbolt 5, also known as USB 4 V2, has just been announced. The increased bandwidth is enough for 3 4K video signals at 144 Hz. Notably, this generation also doubles the PCIe bandwidth from 32 gigabits per second to 64, which would provide drastic improvements to eGPUs. It really feels like we are just a few years away from eGPUs becoming more commercially viable for a mainstream gamer, and I think that's a really interesting prospect. What do you think? Hey, if you haven't seen this game making the rounds on Twitter or whatever, check it out. This is Holston, and it's an isometric survival horror game like Signalis, except you can change the perspective in real time to over-the-shoulder third person for aiming and shooting. So basically, it's like the best of RE1 and the best of RE4 put together. There's already a demo available, so try it out. Let me know what you think. All right, that gang out. Goodbye.